Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our third episode of the Men's Talk Show. I am your host, Duran, and I have my two other co-hosts here, Chris and Wayne, and we are going to be talking about relationships, um, how relationships affect mental health for men today.
Morning, guys. How's everybody?
Doing good.
Hey, good to see y'all again.
Good to see you guys too. Glad you guys had a good week. Pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna start talking about how some of the relationships had affected my mental health, over some of my past friendships that I had. So basically, I had this one friend that, I've been talking to since about maybe 3 years, and we had a good friendship. We hung out, we did a lot of different activities in college together because we went to college at Cleveland State for 4 years together. And I started to notice that basically our friendship was declining when I started to see that he didn't really want to hang out as much as I had hoped for. And I would send him messages and I would ask him like, when are we gonna hang out? When are we gonna, plan something? Because it's been a while since, we graduated from college together and we really haven't hung out that much. And he just started making a lot of excuses and saying I'm too busy, I work a lot, so I'm kind of tired. But, then I saw, you know, we follow each other on Instagram. And I saw him with another group of friends. And I thought he was really busy, working and stuff like that. And I sent him a message and I said, so when I asked you, did we want to hang out? You said you really didn't want to hang out. And then now I see you with some other group of friends on that same exact week that I asked, what's the deal? And he didn't really have much to say in terms of why he couldn't want to hang out with me. And I just started to kind of notice a trend, you know, weeks after weeks after week, kept asking him, when are we going to hang out? When are we going to do something? And at a point in time, you have to just kind of stop begging people, that's
Absolutely.
that's kind of like that's kind of unnecessary. If you're my friend, you're gonna have time to hang out with me. If you're my friend, you're gonna text me and we can kind of coordinate different things. So, so we can see if our schedules align with each other. And if we have some time to schedule out, then we'll be able to do that. But he didn't want to do any of that. So eventually I did have to kind of cut him off as my friend after, almost 4 years of knowing the guy. Pretty cool guy, you know. We didn't really have any problems up until that point until after college. Um, but it affected my mental health because I wanted him as my friend. I wanted us to continue to be friends after college. But I guess he had other plans of doing that, of not wanting to be my friend. And so at a point in time, you have to stop begging people for friendships, basically. If you keep saying there's a trend that you keep asking them and they're not really receptive of the idea of wanting to hang out. So, yeah, I just pretty much ended the friendship and I was devastated afterwards. I really was because he was kind of like the longest friendship that I ever had in my life. But what about you guys? Have you had any friendships that kind of affected your mental health?
So I'll
In
say
terms of
that,
men's friendships, if you have?
yeah, definitely. I mean, being in the military, I've been in 18 and a half years, and I've been stationed all over the world and stationed with a lot of people. And so it seems like every duty station is a new best friend for that short amount of time. And that's where I heard recently I heard the term called seasons. Like you got friends for a season. And that really sticks with me now as a 37-year-old man looking back over my life that I've had friends for seasons. And it's unfortunate that I maybe had like one person I really kept close with this whole time, but other ones are more like we just kind of drifted apart to our separate parts of the world and not really like connected like we were. And part of it is location, but part of it too is like now no really text or any correspondence after that.
Yeah, I feel that, man. That seasonal friendship is kind of my wheelhouse. I've learned acceptance there, and it hurts a lot less. But yeah, realizing that not all friendships are long term, and that's okay, right? So I appreciate what I get while I'm there, and maybe it's not for me, right? That friendship, something I always think about. Maybe the person is in my life not for me, but I'm there for them. And that helps me accept a little bit more and be a little bit more empathetic and compassionate about what someone's going through. Maybe they're reaching out and I'm the only person that they've ever reached out to. And I don't like them. So I'm going to put up a boundary against them and not talk to them. I don't want to be that person because I've been that person reaching out to talk to somebody and the person wasn't receptive, right? So you never know how or what's going to impact somebody's life. So, I've experienced enough trauma and enough relationships in my life to just appreciate what I get when I get them. I don't
Yeah,
have
that's a,
many long term, right? Go ahead.
I would say that's a great point. I never I try to be open minded and look at different perspectives, but what you just said like really hit it. It's like I never thought of myself as being the one person that they open up to, or the one person that's like, man, I got nobody else. But you know what? Wayne's over here, and Wayne seems like a nice guy. And let me talk to him. And then they get what they need from me, and then I serve my purpose in their life. And they moved on. I've never thought about it like that. And that's something I'm definitely going to keep in the back of my mind now.
So when do you guys think it would be a good time to cut people off? What is the fine line?
Well,
Oh,
I would say it depends. There's a lot of variables when you say that because when you look back to me, the militaries, I've moved a lot, and we'll just some people that let's say there's one really close friend, but there's people that I'm still close somewhat with, right? But I had one conversation with the guy that I've known for I met in 2015, and he came over to my house like last year and a half ago. Now time flies, but uh, he said something good. He's like, I like you, Wayne, because even when we don't get to hang out as much. He's like, you got young kids, I got young kids. We're passionate fathers and husbands, and we're trying to get our careers to be at a certain level. And you don't hold that against me that I'm trying to be successful and take care of mine, that I can't hang out like I used to. And I said vice versa. I mean, and I felt like that's why I still like you as a friend, and we link up when we can. And it's like we never miss a beat because we've grown and matured enough to understand that we do have these other things over here that we have to take care of. So and sometimes and I've also had, like you said too, friends like what I grew up with back in Ohio, where we were friends, we grew up, but then I went to the military. They stayed there doing the same things, and when I come back, they're doing the same thing, and I go off, and they're looking at me like, "Man, you've changed. You're not the same person no more." But I'm like, I didn't change. I'm still me, right? But I did grow up, and I have different perspectives now. So I
that
think
part.
it's variables depending on how the circumstances that played out in your life.
Yeah, that's a really good point of view as well, man. That definitely makes a lot of sense because sometimes people aren't going to grow at the same rate that you are, right? Or they grow in a different way. Who knows where they're at? But I find the people who are who can resonate like that to me is resonance between you and your friend there. He understands you at a frequency because he's also there himself, right? And that res- oh man, this word's gonna kill me. Reciprocity, I think, is the word. Is important in a relationship and understanding, okay, this guy is giving me and I'm also giving him, especially with men. I mean, and if we're gonna get down to it, relationships with men are the most difficult because we are all men. And it's hard to be vulnerable with other men, right? Learning that you can be and how empowering that can be, talking with other men and just sitting and chilling, hanging out with some dudes. it makes a difference, man. If those men are positive and they have a good influence on their own lives, because they are going to have a good influence on your lives. Have you guys ever heard the saying, you are the closest example of the 5 people you hang around?
Oh, absolutely. I
Oh
definitely
yeah,
heard that.
Man,
I
I
feel
heard
that too.
that and my friend group dropped instantaneously. Instantaneously. I instantly was like, that was a real realization in my life that I had to cut some people out that I was maybe carrying for far too long.
Oh yeah. When I first heard that, I think I heard it from a guy who also does podcasts called Gary Vee. I don't know if y'all know who Gary Vee is. He's a serial
Yeah, Gary
entrepreneur.
Vee, man.
Gary Vee is awesome. And I heard that from him.
Sure.
It's like you are a product of your 5 closest friends, right? Not your environment you grew up with, the 5 closest friends. And then they said I started to look at it and I'm like, man, like none of y'all, you're all like, and that goes to another saying, that crabs in the bucket, right? One's trying to get out, they're all pulling. And when all you were struggling together, it's very few instances where everybody's going to make it out. It's just how it is, right? And one person makes it out, and now they're trying to pull the other ones out. And sometimes they can, but some people are like, man, you changed now. Like I was just saying. And so they're like, you changed. But really, you made it out. You see different perspectives. Now you're trying to help them out, but they're looking at you like you're not the same person. So it's definitely I when I heard that, I really looked at my friends closely and was like, now when I meet people, I think, is this type of person I want in my top 5?
Hit it right on the head, man. Right on the head. That was perfect. That's
Yeah,
exactly what. Is this somebody I want in my group? You know what I mean? And it's not a big group, it's 5 people. And that those are important, valuable places, and I would rather them be empty than be filled with somebody who's not meant to be there. You
yeah,
know what I
and
mean?
yes, and I agree with everything that y'all said, and I think it does go back to reciprocity because if I'm just giving you the emotional support or help that you need, and you're not giving me anything in return, that's where I see then the friendship is starting to decline because obviously I'm putting more effort into it and I'm caring more about you than you're caring back to me. And that's where it start to turn into selfishness because I'm not going to be around someone that just say just my needs. What do I want? Ask me how I'm doing. Ask me what I need. It's not, it works both ways. It's a friendship. I have to be there for you. You have to be there for me. It can't work one way. It has to be equal. That's how
Oh,
you know.
absolutely.
That's how you
Yeah.
know. That's how you know when you have somebody as a true friend.
That's draining, right? When you have somebody that's like you're always give, give, give. Yeah, you can be that person's one person sometimes, but then you need somebody too, right? And that's the thing with men, like with our mental health, is that sometimes, especially like me with a family, I give and I give and I give and I give, and then that one day when I need something, it's like, what's wrong with daddy? Like, what's wrong with my husband? Like, like he's not the same no more. Like he's just sitting there, he's just quiet. Like, because you try to talk and nobody's really listening. Like, yeah, but can you still take me to Starbucks or can you go buy some cereal? Like, okay, all
You're
right,
not cognizant of your own well-being, like what
yeah,
you need.
Man,
yeah.
that's a yeah. Also, feel that, dude. Feel that right in my heart. My dad muscle really flexed right there for sure because that's life as a father, right? And it's unfortunate, but it's changing, and you have to be that change in your household, which is unfortunate. But normalizing dad needing time and taking it is an okay thing. My kids understand I'm taking a break. I'm gonna go take 10 minutes. Mindfulness is my trick as the father. I go and take 5 minutes to mindful and enjoy every sip and enjoy the heat in my mouth and the taste going down my throat. All of it. Like I just fully immerse myself in drinking a cup of coffee. And in that time, I can usually bring myself into a space where I can deal with my crazy chaotic kids at times. And it helps me so much to just normalize that with them to the point when I come out of the bedroom that they're like, "Are you cool, Dad? You okay?" and they get it. Like dad's been a little too much, paid a little too much kid tax today. We're gonna give him a minute, and he's gonna refresh himself. Because yeah.
Now we talked about a little bit about like how our friendships or relationships that we have with people kind of are affected us, kind of affected our, mental health. But getting on the other side of that, like how has friendships or relationships benefit you benefited you in a good way that does something good to your mental health? Let's talk about it from that more positive side of things.
That's what I'm looking for. And I think when people are trying to find friendship, that's really the keys. It doesn't need to be as big and extravagant as everyone needs. You just need from someone. It doesn't need to be a big thing. Like I have one really great friend. I should explain, I have more internet friends than I do real life friends. And I don't know why that is, but for whatever reason, I seem to connect with people on the internet better than I do in real life. And I don't know why, but it's genuine. It's really genuine. Those people care about me and I care about them. Never met them in real life. But I don't think you need that. I don't think I don't need a tangible like touchy feely connection with somebody. I can love somebody who lives in Florida just fine as I can love somebody who lives next door to me. It's all a matter of how I get and how I give in a relationship, right? And if you can balance that out and find that happy medium in somebody where they can give you just what you're needing in that moment, right? And it changes second by second. Like some people need support, some people are there to give support. Like I was kind of saying earlier, you never know who you are for that person, but if you have somebody who's honest, and can communicate that, it's a really great friendship. Like Wayne pointed, you could go years without talking or speaking too much and reconnect, and it just happens. You're just like, "Well, hey, what's going on, man? How's things? Good. I appreciate you being genuine and authentic with me." And vulnerability is again uncomfortable for men, but if you can do that, you can find a connection with somebody and only get what's given.
Do
That
you
makes
have
sense.
do you have one person that you can just go to and vent without any judgment or any friendships that you develop
Only
over the years?
online. Only online for me, and it's genuine in that sense that if I'm at a happy place or a bad place, those people are there for me.
Okay, so you do have your own kind of support system, so that's good.
I
Yeah,
do. It's taken a long time to build up, but absolutely.
yeah, yeah. I have that one close friend, and only only that one close friend. I had to really, thank him for being a good friend because I didn't know what that was like before I met him. Like he always texts me, he always asks me if I'm okay, what do I need, and I do that back with him. And I feel like that's good on my mental health. That means it lets me know that I have somebody that I can go to and vent, and vice versa. I can vent to him, and he can vent to me, and that's good on the mental health. That's good on the mind because it reinforces that this is what a friendship is supposed to look like.
Yeah, you're not gonna have to worry about what you said to that person being out in social media or in the streets as they call it or wherever, you know. So yeah, like I have that too. Like you said, I have that one friend that I was stationed with like 10 years ago, and you know, we he just retired from the military earlier last month, and and he sent me an invite, and I got to watch his retirement ceremony online, even though I wasn't there, but I was still present. I was like online just watching it, and it's that good feeling. Like I said, to have that person that's there for you is good for your mental health. Those meaningful connections, I think it's all good. Though it doesn't matter whether it's your next door neighbor, online, or wherever. As long as you have somebody, I think that's where we feel good. We feel good about.
Yeah, I do agree with that because in life, You really do have to protect your own mental health. You really do have to kind of evaluate, you know, if this friendship is serving me good on my mental health or if it's serving me bad on my mental health. And that's what we want people to kind of like take away from what we talk about, because it's a lot of times where people just don't understand that, it's okay to let go of that friend that's toxic or that's jealous of you or that's not, serving you into the best mental capacity that you can possibly be in. It could be draining, it could be exhausting trying to worry about their problems, always keep up with them. But then when it's time for you to have problems, when you have problems, when you have trials and tribulations, no one's there for you. You want a good friend that's going to be there for you. You want a good friend that's going to be able to validate how you're feeling, or even to tell you when you're wrong. That's that's
Yeah.
that's important too.
So let's talk about that some more, right? So you kind of brought it up, and I think we kind of hit it. You talked about when do you know it's time to let a friendship go, right? And so let's talk about it. Let's say some of those things. So you said draining. We said very vague terms. If your friend is only calling you when it's first and the 15th, right, and you got paid and they want to go out for drinks, but hey, bro, can you buy the beer? Like once in a while is okay, but that's the type of friend like you need to reevaluate. Like when you going to bring the beer or the liquor or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Also, is that friend the friend that is always bitching, always got something moaning, complaining, bringing you down about somebody else's business? Get rid of that friend. That friend ain't gonna help you. That ain't friend ain't there for you. That friend is there for themselves and to bring other people down.
Or if you see that you're going in different directions in life and they're not supportive, then it's time to reevaluate that, this is not what a friendship, they're supposed to be supportive. They're supposed to, you're supposed to have some, room for growth between each
Right.
other, but in a healthy way. So if
Or
your
when
friend,
you
so if you see in your friend, if your friend is making, $50 million or got a good job, high paying job, and you still at the same level, then there might be some envy and jealousy there. And
oh,
that's
absolutely.
then
It's
that's
not even 50 million level. Look, we talking about $50,000 a year level. It's, we ain't got to get
hey.
to those extremes, but yeah, like um, like when I started getting promoted in the military, I went from making $20,000 a year to maybe $50,000 a year. And people was like, man, you rich? Like I'm not rich. Like man, can you? I used to go back home and pay for. Like, hey, we're gonna throw you a barbecue, but you gotta pay for the liquor. You gotta buy the food. You gotta buy the grill. Like, how you throwing me a barbecue and I'm paying for everything, right? But then too, another thing is like a friend, the friend that if you're doing wrong and they're not trying to stop you, then that's the type of friend you gotta cut to. Like, yeah, you say well, you need a ride or die, but some things like if you got a really good relationship, like with your significant other, whether it be man, woman, whatever, and you're about to do something that's going to jeopardize that, your best friend should at least be like, hey, you may want to think about what you're about to do.
I think that authenticity factor comes into play right there. Like, and that's when you know you got a real friend, man. When they're like, dude, you're not thinking about this straight. And you're like, no, no, I am. I am. This is how I feel. And you're in a state, you're reactive, you're pissed off. I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna blow up that guy's car. Blah, blah, blah. Just and your friend's like, man, you need to take a minute. You need to calm down. That's a stupid choice you're gonna make. You're gonna go and get yourself thrown in jail. You're gonna ruin your life over a split second decision because that guy cut you off in traffic. Give yourself a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, like, man, you're talking
But
like
that's real. That's real. People are doing that. Like you cut you
yeah,
off in traffic, and now they want to go out and start shooting.
yeah, yeah. You got a friend who's encouraging that stupid behavior, man. Get rid of that friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I listen, my wife watches a lot of those court TV shows. The guy who did the thing, his friend's not in court with him,
Ain't that
Somewhere
hey?
chilling, drinking a beer or something like that.
right? He plotting. Oh, I'm about to get his girl now because he about to go to jail forever.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been fun talking to you guys. Do you want to make any final remarks about friendships or relationships in general and how it affects mental health for men. What are your final thoughts about it here?
Yeah, I'll just say that, I'm kind of still what Chris said earlier. It's like your top five friends, right? For those who are around long enough to remember MySpace had like a top five or top eight friends that you could have up on your profile. Keep that inside of you though. That don't let that go away. That is real because you are a product of your top five friends. And when I realized that, and I started bringing other people into my circle that I wanted to aspire to be like them, then I started to see myself grow as well. And so that's what I would say from this is that your top five, reevaluate them and don't be afraid to let those people that are pulling you down to let them go.
And also, a friend to everybody is a friend to nobody. That's something that we got to keep cognizant of when we're making friends. You can have 1,000 some friends, but if there's no connection, if you're not reaching out to them or you're not interacting with you, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day because they're really not all your friends. So I'd rather have one good friend than to have all those friends that I'm questioning.
They're acquaintances.
So a
There's a
friend
difference
to
between
everybody
friends
is
and
a friend to
acquaintance.
nobody. Yeah. Acquaintances. That's more what you would categorize them as. But what's your final thoughts, Chris?
My final thoughts, something I teach my kids, and that's if you want good friends, you have to be a good friend. So if you do fill those spots with people, make sure you're doing something to keep those people on those spots and to be a person of in their spots as well. You know what I mean? It's hard to be a good friend, but if you can do that, you will have a good friend, and it may take time to find it, but if you can do it, then you can get it. But if you can show what a good friend is, maybe you'll meet a friend who isn't a great friend, but they learn how to be a good friend because you're a good friend. Now, don't hold it against somebody. Everyone's dealing with some shit, right? We're all dealing with some shit. So don't hold it against somebody who didn't call you yesterday. Man, reach out, say hi, be friendly, talk to strangers. Go be a friend to somebody if you want a friend to show up in your life. You can't just sit here expecting a friend without being a friend. So go out there, love somebody, care for somebody, be genuine, be nurturing. You'll find somebody who's going to be there for you all the time. And other times won't be. Don't hold it against them, please.
That's great. That's
All
great.
right. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. We are gonna wrap this up, but I thank you again for joining this session again, like we always do. We talk about some good conversations. And on that note, I hope that everybody has a good day, and we are gonna end the session now.